Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. I would just note that this committee did pass Mr. Barr's bill that would appropriate funds for the CFPB and create a commission. So the idea that somehow we're defunding and disbanding is false. Ms. Director Chopra, some of my colleagues have already raised concerns about the CFPB's directive to eliminate fees that institutions can charge, will limit access to credit for certain riskier individuals, and raise the costs of credit and services for all consumers. As of just this week, the CFPB initiated a rulemaking process to remove medical debt from credit reports. If a medical debt is owed by the consumer, how do you expect it to be collected?
Well, there's many financial providers, medical providers that don't report and they do collect. I would say this, we've done years and years of analysis on it, and there's also a prohibition in the Fair Credit Reporting Act for having medical-related information on credit reports. And we saw that there was really people seizing on that exemption to often use a credit report to coerce people into paying debts they already paid or don't owe. So we have proposed and are accepting comment on how we might restrict some of that abuse and put it more in line with what Congress intended.
Okay, so if I decided to apply for a mortgage, let's say under your rule, and a lender would have no idea that I skipped out on my medical bills because I don't need to include it on my credit application, and the lender would not be allowed to consider the debt that I owe when determining how much of a mortgage I can afford, correct?
No, that would not be correct.
Why?
Well, it doesn't really prohibit any lender from asking about what are people's income, debts, other things. So again, this is really about looking at the accuracy.
So you're supposed to self-report?
Well, there's lots of things that are not on a credit report, including your food expenses, other things that lenders often do ask. So when it comes to a credit report, it was meant to look for a lender to see for the loans that you have taken out, like a mortgage, credit card, auto loan, or student loan, how are you doing on them?
Right, how are you doing paying your debts?
Yeah, so we have not.
Right, so if the objective of a credit report is to show somebody who's going to provide you
your loans,
funding,
your loans. So we
right,
have not
but
proposed
if you're,
excluding
right,
medical
but if you're,
loans or medical credit cards.
If you're, the whole purpose of a credit report, right, is so that somebody knows whether or not somebody potentially could be a risky person to lend money to. And so if that is the objective, and you're saying, well, you don't need to include this, you don't need to report it, isn't it going to create a situation where they don't have an accurate financial picture of a prospective borrower, and won't that have an impact on our credit markets?
Well, I guess I'd ask you this. Let's say I just made up the fact that you owed me $10,000, and I put that on your credit report. When there's inaccuracies in your credit report, that has a huge impact on you. When it's false, when it's already paid, and what we see is compared to other types of loans, like mortgages or credit cards or auto loans, where you actually signed up for the loan, where there's documentation around it, there's a lot more information to assure that it's accurate. On top of that, medical bills also go through the insurance system. So you are often left with a situation where things are still pending, but often parked on your credit report. And that's why many lenders actually don't even look at it, because they know that it's not necessarily predictive of your performance on other loans. And that is what a lot of the research has shown. We have proposed the rule. We're eager to get feedback on it if there's places where you should adjust it. But we've did a lot of work over the years to make sure that there's a strong empirical base for this. And at the end of the day, the Fair Credit Reporting Act really does not permit medical information or your health data to be there.
So in your example, you talk about inaccuracies on a credit report, but can't consumers dispute those inaccuracies?
Yeah, but how long is that going to take right when you're in the middle of applying for a loan? You know, it will take so much time to file the dispute, wait, and then you're in some rope-a-dope between the credit reporting agency and the furnisher. This is why this has systemic problems. And I really want to encourage you, I know people feel they have to oppose this, but this is pretty reasonable what we're proposing.
Yeah, but as you acknowledge, there's a process to dispute for inaccuracies.
Yeah, but
And
there's not a
ultimately-
process where
Yes, sir.
medical billers get.
Reclaiming my time, thank you. My time has now expired. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres, is recognized for 5 minutes.